Hello and welcome to the Driving Maul Six Nation review. I'm Paul, the guy behind Driving Maul, and yes, it's live and a single take, as you can see. If you're watching live, please give us some comments or chats. Otherwise, tweet replies, and I'll get back to you, or put comments below if you're watching on YouTube. So the Six Nations has concluded, and England have won the championship, but didn't gain the Grand Slam, losing to Ireland in the final round. Quick review of the table sees England top on 19 points, Ireland second on 14 points, France third on 14 points, Scotland third on 14 points, and Wales fifth on 10 points, and Italy with 0 points at the bottom. So what I propose to do is to go through each of the teams, say how they've done and where it leaves them at, and for going forwards. So kicking off with England. So England equalled the All Blacks Tier 1 consecutive victories record with 18, and then stumbled at the final hurdle, losing it to Ireland in Ireland. They came through this championship and had it won before the final round, but they really weren't at their best. They were missing key forwards early on, and even though most of those came back during the tournament, they weren't probably at full fitness. What we saw in the one game where they did cut loose against Scotland was that it was coming off first phase ball lineups, and obviously the coaches had spotted an issue with or a gap in the Scottish defence, and they really did exploit it. Scotland were a bit soft, or not soft. They didn't have such a hard pressing line speed that we'd expect from them. They were perhaps a bit too standoffish on their defence as well. So England got through this without really playing their best rugby. I think we'll be seeing more and better from them as the year goes on. Eddie Jones already said that November offers redemption already, so he's obviously not. He obviously knows he's going to lose players to the Lions in July, and that will be used to extend the squad, I think. He also used the Italy game to extend the squad, which is a good sign after last year, sticking with pretty much the same team the whole way through from memory. This year he actually switched things up against Italy to try and get more experience, which was good. So yes, England will be disappointed not to get the Grand Slam and to fall at the final hurdle. He did say that was a World Cup final style game, and it really was. Everything was riding on a game. You either get it right or you don't, and they didn't. Which is something that if they make the World Cup final, they will want to be better at. And it's interesting that he did use that afterwards. It's kind of thought that that I mentioned when the All Blacks got to their 18th game, was that this was preparation for a final, and they took all the pressure on by saying they were looking at making history. So England still had a good tournament, still lots of promise in the right direction, but not at their best, clearly. Ireland showed with beating England and also beating the All Blacks back in November that they can win any game. Their problem really is winning every game rather than just any game. The games they target, they really do pull off. The ones they don't target so much, perhaps they aren't as prepared for and they can't really get up for, or they can't win them so much. So they lost to Scotland in the opening round, and also to Wales away, but obviously beat England, Italy very convincingly, and France. So I think it's a bit of a story of something that we already knew, that yes, Ireland can target specific games, and if they get preparation right, can beat anybody on their day. What we also found was a bit like we saw back in June when we went to South Africa, that Ireland can't, that its consistency, that is, they're failing, and they need to build on that. Some good things to come out of it was obviously losing Murray to injury and still having been able to perform, so they're not as reliant potentially on key players as they have been, so perhaps they've got a bit better depth there, which is a good sign for Ireland. So generally an up and down Six Nations, one that probably will not be. They were obviously I would think they were targeting to do much better than they did. France in third. This is much better for them than we've seen over recent years, where they've ended up being in sort of the bottom two, and I think even ended up last recently. So France are showing lots of growth and are moving in the right direction, and this is great to see. We saw a bit of it in November, and we're getting it reaffirmed now. This is a new, that's not a new squad so much, but new coaching setup, and there is lots of growth going on there, and they will be dangerous come the Rugby World Cup, is my prediction. So lots of upside from France. Obviously, they did lose to Ireland and England, but saw off Wales and Scotland on their own patch, and also obviously beat Italy. So for me, that's a good tournament for France and shows they're heading in the right direction. Scotland, as one guy put on Twitter, G-Love, put on Twitter, he doesn't see this as coming fourth, he sees this as second equal. And I think that's really how Scotland have to see this. They are equal on points with Ireland and France, having just lost the 2 games against England and France, which are the 2 away games as well. They really have bucked the trend of having a good autumn and then flopping or not doing quite, so not getting up for the Six Nations, and that's great to see. So it's definitely things on the up with, and let's hope that with Gregor Townsend coming in, because he's been part of the setup in one way or another for a long time now, that there won't be too much disruption as Vern heads off to Montpellier, I think it is. So a fantastic Six Nations for Scotland, and yes, I do think that's a more of a second equal than fourth place. They would have been looking to try and be higher at the table. It's just come down to points difference in the end. Wales came in 5th with 2 victories over Ireland and Italy, and against Italy they didn't get the bonus point, so a bonus point try either, which was disappointing for them. Really, I think we learnt pretty much what we kind of know about Wales is a fantastic defence when they get it right on their day, but they do struggle going forwards. Against England they had lots of breaks, but they just couldn't make that final pass stick, and there were lots of knock-ons and things. We saw that against France as well. They are a side that that are trying to change their ways, but after being stuck in it for so long, are finding it difficult to get out of it. And there is so the question is how many of these players will be around for the next World Cup and how much of them can actually do what is being asked of them. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, a disappointing tournament for Wales, who would have been expecting to do a lot better than that. Finally, Italy down in 6th with no wins, with no bonus points, scoring 50 points for and against 201 points over the 5 games. It is really a very poor return. And you do, whilst I know there was lots of people saying positive things about Italy because they beat South Africa in the autumn, this is probably the worst African side we have seen for a very long time, and Italy did lose to Tonga the following week. Obviously Parisi wasn't there, but you can't be that reliant on one player. So yeah, disappointing from Italy. Obviously the vultures will be circling about them and Georgia and their inclusion in the Six Nations, and you've got to say there is a long way to go for that side, and whether they'll be able to, whether we're actually going to see an improvement from them, we'll just have to wait and see. It was a disappointing tournament for them. So that's what I've got to say. If you have any questions, please do put them in while I do my final bits, and I'll be happy to reply to them. If you're watching through sort of Periscope or Twitter, please do share, retweet this or share this with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, please give it the old thumbs up. Do sign up for my weekly newsletter so you don't miss any of my stuff. It's in the link in the title on Twitter, and it's in the notes below on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow I'll be talking about Super Rugby format and the mess that they're making of changing it and making decisions. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed your rugby this weekend, and talk to you later.